everyone. My name's Amal. I'm a drug addict. Thank you so much for asking me to be of service. It's always a pleasure and an honor. Always, always, always. Thank you. I can see there's a meeting on, going on at the same time. That's great. Like an outside meeting. So, I just want to say thank you because you see, if I don't do these things, I won't be here. We only keep what we have by giving it away. And I'm so grateful to be here. No matter how tired I am, no matter what my mind would say, don't do it. You've been busy, blah, blah, blah. I need to do this. Because you see, I need to grow spiritually on a daily basis. Every day is a day that we must carry God's will into all our activities. How can I best serve? That I will not mind. The proper use of the word, step 11 stuff. I remember you asked me a few times, and I'm so sorry, I was always busy. I couldn't do it. And you asked me about the passage, and it just came to me, You can call me a big book basher. Yes, I am. And I'm very, very proud of that because you see, the big book has the answer. And I love the big book for Alcoholics Anonymous. I never get enough of it. For me, it's like my Bible as I'm a Christian. My Bible and my big book goes with me anyway. If I travel, if I go here, I have to read it. I have to learn from it on a daily basis. I just love it. But that part that I picked, page 68, just blows my mind. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to share a little bit about that passage and then I'm going to move on. First of all, I'd like to welcome any newcomers, anybody in their first meeting, anybody back from a relapse. Welcome to Cocaine Anonymous. Welcome to the Fellowship of the Spirit. You are in the right place. You deserve to be here. Like they say in the big book again, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. You see, nothing can but thoroughness and honesty from the very start. I have to be thorough. I have to be brutally honest to myself in order to get well, in order to have these promises, in order to have a spiritual awakening. It's all about honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. Today, I can say that I'm working with the best of my ability to achieve that. My sobriety date is the 10th of October, 2004. So I'm just 18 years, I think nearly 10 months, 18 years and 10 months. Thank you. By the grace of God. Thank you so much. Just one day at a time. Clean time is important, obviously. I'm proud. But for me, it's about what I do today. It's about being in fit spiritual condition because this illness centers in my mind and the road can get narrow and my mind can play tricks on me and tells me that, you're nearly 19 years. You don't need to be in this meeting. You don't need to, to be a programming chair for a convention, to be a chair of HNI, to do these meetings here, to sponsor. Don't do all this, but I have to do this. Because every day again is a day that I must carry God's will into my life because once I help people, God blesses me. Once they pray, God blesses me some more. My blessing comes from within. My dependence is upon God. However, this is not religious, guys. I will not shy away from that. But I would like to make this clear. You will hear me talk about God. I am a spiritual speaker. And for me, it's all about God. I sit here by the grace of God and everything I have is by the grace of God and I was saved by the grace of God. I won't be sitting here as a raging crack addict, 28 years, clean and sober today, nearly 19 years, if it wasn't for that power. So let's share about that page. That page 68 always stand out for me, and I thank God today. I thank God of my own understanding, which is Jesus Christ, the Son of God. I thank God. It makes me cry, tears in my eyes. I thank God that I'm on a different basis. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you that I'm on a different basis, Thank you that I'm not on the basis that I was before. Thank God that, my broken ass has brought me here today, different basis. The basis, trust and rely upon you rather than infinite self. Because you see, I can't trust myself. This is all about having that conscious contact. It's all about turning everything to the Father of light. Thou will not mine be done. He tells me that the first 9 steps are designed to awaken my spirit because I was driven. My problem was never crack cocaine. My problem was not rape, was not sex, was not police, was not religion, was not my mom, was not my dad, was not my stepdad that used to rape me. None of that. My problem that I have this irritability about me, this soul sickness. I'm irritable, restless, and discontent and driven. It tells me that in the big book, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. So today, by the grace of God, I'm awake. So the first 9 steps are designed to awaken my spirit. So it takes me back to this page. The basis, trust and rely upon you. In order for me to trust a higher power, I've got to work those first 9 steps, continue to work with the disciplines of 10, 11, and 12 to have that spiritual awakening. It says that. It says that in step 10 that I've entered the word of the Spirit. You know, today I've developed these six senses, so I can't enter the word of the spirit. I never knew what six senses are. I try not to swear, you know, until I have worked those steps. I've had this awakening. So I was awake, but I was driven. They say fast asleep driven, you know. So I just thank God I'm on a different basis, you know, the basis trust and rely upon you rather than infinite self. You know, I'm in this word to play the role God has assigned. Wow, that's powerful stuff. You know, the role that God has assigned. When people say to me, you know, when I'm in conventions or I'm in places, you know, and it's so out of ego and people see me in the lineup, oh my God, you're going to share. And I hate that. I always say that. Are you going to smash it? I ain't going to smash shit. It's my God of my own understanding. Is having had that spiritual awakening. Is having that conscious contact with my God, you know, on a daily basis, every minute of the day, you know, that enables me to share. I'm just a witness. I'm just a channel. That's all I am. That's all Bill and Bob and everybody else, and you know, and everybody that contributed to Cocaine Anonymous, Alcoholic Anonymous, the Mother Fetish, everybody that's been around before us, our role models, our sponsors. It's just a demonstration. So something's working through me, and it's really, really freeing for me to know that. So what is God's will for you? Ask yourself this in prayer and meditation. You know, sit in silence and think, what's God's will for you? To be a mother to a daughter like mine, who's 31, who's suffering of mental health, who calls me on Mother's Day, and I'm at work screaming, oh my God, I've just cut my hand, there's blood everywhere. Oh, how can you come? And I had to just bring it back to basics and say, thou will not mine be done. I had to pray and I had to stay at work. You know, does God wants you to be a father to somebody that's using, or a wife to somebody that's insane, or you've got a neighbor who's disabled, or you've got a son who's autistic, or, you know, he enabled us to match serenity, you know, calamity with serenity. You see, when I came into sobriety, there was a lot of calamity, and I'm not here to really for you to feel sorry for me, and I'm not here to share a horror story, but I will share in a general way what it was like, what happened, where I am now. You know, I had very severe consequences. It doesn't mean that I'm better than you. And it doesn't mean that I've used more than you. The only requirement for membership is the desire. That's all you need. Are you one of us? Do you have the desire? Do you really want what I have? Are you willing to surrender to your innermost self? Because many at times I sat in the pub, I sat in the crack house, surrendering in my mind. This is about innermost self, in my gut feeling, right inside that voice of God. You know, for instance, you know, when I jump to someone's car and I'm sitting with someone and I could feel that intuition, that God voice telling me this man's going to rape me, it's going to beat me up, but I'm still going because I was powerless. Well, today, no. Today I've had the spiritual awakening and I've got these six senses. I know what the voice of God is. So, you know, are you willing to surrender to your innermost self, that there should be no reservations of any kind? Step one, I can't. Step two, he can. Step three, let him. Step one for me is about waving the white flag. You know, you go to war, surrender. You know, the big book tells me that I'm powerless over my addiction and my life has become unmanageable. It takes 43 pages to convince me that lack of power is my dilemma. That's what my dilemma is. My dilemma is not my stepdad raping me, people don't like me, blah, blah, blah. Please change. None of that. My dilemma is when I take one, I'm powerless. You know, it sets off a phenomenon of craving, which is limited to the average drinker and a drug taker. Once I take one, it sets off this phenomenon. It's like an itch. I can't stop. I'm off for running. 2 weeks later, I'm in the same crack house, looking out the window, looking like Tina Turner. My hair's out there. My eyes popping out there, about to pop out of my face. And I'm saying, what the hell am I doing here? Who are these men next to me naked? Who are these people? That's my experience. You know, the big book tells me we're like people that never grow new legs. The delusion that we like other people has to be smashed. You know, I could not do that on my own power. I had to have God's help. I could not smash that on my own power. I have to have a sponsor who's armed with the fact that will explain that 43 pages to me, that will break it down line by line, that will tell me that lack of power is my dilemma, that will say that consequences do not keep me from smoking crack. This is why when I go to the crack house, I get raped. I'm back to the crack house for 10 years, getting raped by the same man, knocking the door willingly. Can you rape me, please, Martin? This is why, you know, self-knowledge about that's nothing. Knowing what I suffer of cannot keep me, clean and sober. It's not sufficient. It's a program of action. I have to work this on a daily basis, day in, day out, just like my friend Billy, if I can see that he's here. with 30 odd years sobriety. I have to. Because I've got a disease that centers in my mind, and it's a disease of isolation. It's a disease of, indifference, and it separates me away from people. And it tells me that I'm 18 and a half years and I'm cured and I'm all right. And I can, rest on my laurels. No, I can't fucking rest on my laurels. I did say I was trying not to swear, but I had to swear. That hasn't been removed yet, but you know what? That will be done. God loves me with that too. So anyway, this is how it is. Self-knowledge of how does nothing. Lack of power is my dilemma. I cannot think through the pipe when I take the pipe. I wake up in strange places. So I get that. My egos were smashed. Okay, I surrender. I can't do this anymore. You see, I was born in Morocco. I'm Moroccan, which is North Africa. And, the whole country is Arab. The whole country, they speak French and Arabic. Everybody's Muslim. We don't have any Moroccans that are Christian today. I'm a Christian by the grace of God. And when I go back there, I have to just keep quiet. You know what I'm saying? So I always blamed my using on that. I was born in such a brutal community, and I'm not here to put any religion down, whatever works for you. For me, it's all about the God of love and the God of mercy and the God of peace and serenity and all of that, not the God of conviction I was brought up with. So I was always angry. I was always angry with these people. Why they're preaching, but they're hurting. And I was always blaming my using on that. Also, my dad was an alcoholic. He left me when I was 7, and I was fuming with God. He was my higher power. I loved my dad because he was the opposite of my mom. He would show me love. He would hug me and kiss me. Because you see, I'm a type of addict. I'm very selfish and self-centered. So I want you to show me love the way I want you to show me love. If I love you, I'm touching you, pulling your face, hugging you. If you're a man or woman, that's how I am. Some people do it differently. Some people, they just buy you gifts. Some people send you messages. Today, I've learned that. You see, the 12-step program is not about a drink or a drug for me today, because the big book for Alcoholics Anonymous is written for sober people. It's about the way of life for me. I had to live life because I was like an animal. I didn't know how to live life. I couldn't deal with rejection. I couldn't deal with, with fear. I couldn't deal with people walking out on me. I couldn't deal with other people's perception of life. I had to change my perception of life. I had to have that, common sense become uncommon sense. Rearrangement of thinking. The big book says rearrangement of thinking. If I'm the same person that I come, many years ago, why am I here? I have to change the way I think. That God, God is love. He's not a God of conviction. That people will be people. People will let you down. People will suck you as sponsors, especially when they get to step 4. They want to go back and redo it. People will count on you. Your husband loves you. Find someone else. People talk about you. People gossip in the fellowship. Not all of us have had a spiritual awakening. I get that today. Some people like me, they're afraid to approach me. I'm not angry with those people. Back in the days when I came in for the first few years, I would be fuming with people if I say hello and you blank me. I'd be calling my sponsor, my God, look, how dare she not talking to me? My sponsor would say, spiritual life is to go through life, life motiveless, is to give and not want back. Why do you want her approval? I'm not here to seek anybody's approval. I have everything I need. Once you reach that stage in your recovery, that everything is fine. Even if your ears are popping, I've put on weight, I haven't got jack shit. I've done 12-year voluntary work. I've just started working 5 years ago. I'm not that rich. I've got a simple house. I've got a little dog annoying me. I think she's an addict. She's actually annoying me today, walking up and down. I've got resentment with this dog, but it's all right. It's okay. Life is okay. Back in the days, I always wanted what you have, the big car, the big house, the good-looking man with a nice bum, nice six-pack, this and that and all of that. Because for me, it wasn't just about a drink or a drug. It was about anything from the outside. Men and women drink for their effect. Anything that would change the way I felt, I wanted it. Today, my dependence is upon God. You see, recovery is an inside job, man. If you reach the place where everything is fucking good, no matter what people say, if you have a car ticket, if your car's been towed, you're just smiling away. Like I said, matching calamity with serenity, and I was brought up in that kind of community where nobody would show me love. Everyone was angry. My dad left us. My mom got married to this man. He started drinking. He showed my mom alcohol before you know it. My mom was poor. She made the house as a whorehouse. We had a lot of prostitution going on. I was out there watching all these people having sex, making money, giving it to my mom. All of that is unfortunate and it's sad. I get that. But many great people was brought up in that community. They didn't smoke crack against their will like I did. So, coming into a fellowship where I sat with people that haven't been through what I've been through, I was really, really shocked because I really thought that life owes me a living. I really thought I used drugs the way I used because I deserved to. because I was fuming with God, with the devil, with my mom, with my dad, with the dealer, with my ex-husband, with these people and that people. I was always blaming, because you see, I was a victim. All my life, I was a victim. Where victims do not get sober, and they do not stay sober. That's one thing. Today, I know that I have an illness. I know that I have a spiritual malady, because I met people that had good childhood. I'm sure they are in this meeting, but you ended up in the same place as me, using against your will. So I guess that's why I stayed, because it was free. And I was like, oh, do I really have an illness? Because I knew I had an illness. The way I lived my life, I was full of fear. You know, I couldn't deal with rejection. I was always trying to buy my friend. My first addiction when I was little, it was love. All about what you think about me. Do you love me? Do you not? How do I look? Do I look good? Do I look? I don't give a damn how I look, as long as I look human. Recovery is an inside job. Who likes me, who don't. Because there's one thing I can tell you, in this life, you can never please people. You can never seek people's approval. It's never going to work, because all of us are just normal humans and we all fall short. Sponsors, people with 10 years, 20 years, if your sponsor's done wrong, pick up the phone and ring her. Maybe she's in a bad way, or ring him. You know, reach out to people. We're all addicts. She's an addict. He's an addict. Why are we, expecting? Because I know that when I have an expectation, it's always a reservation for resentment. Always. Because it's all about me, myself, and I. Fear is all resentment based. And that fear that's not real, that creating threat that will cripple me, that will rob me of my sense of well-being, that false mind-made, they say, false sense of self. That's what it is, because I make it up here. It's false, and it comes from myself, self-manifest in various ways. That's what it is. And that's the purpose of inventory, to get rid of self. On step 5, they talk about the death of selfishness and the awakening of the spirit. I have to let bygones be bygones. By this time, I have to let, the people who rape me, I have to see them as sick people. I have to ask God to show them the same patience and tolerance and pity that would cheerfully grant the sick person like myself. I'm sick too. Who is me to judge? You see, the Bible tells me love is kind. Corinthians 13, love is patient. Love doesn't envy. Love doesn't resent. Love perseveres. True love never dies. So when I'm judging and I want to control people, that's not love, that's control. That's about me and not them. What will be, will be. You must sponsor your relapse, that's up to you. I'm not sacking you, I'm still here for you. So, unfortunately, my stepdad used to abuse me sexually. I was left out there, what I'm saying? I ended up in this country, in the UK, when I was 18. I've been here so many years. And all I wanted to do is party. For me, the wrong people is people I want to party. If you don't want to party for 1 week, go away. I don't want you. I was shallow. I was a bitch. I was a thief. I was heartless. I was selfish. I was arrogant. I was really shallow. If you say you love me, I'll be laughing. What the fuck? It's all about what you've got here. What have you got to give me? It was all about me. It's not like that today. And I thank God something has happened to me, like the doctor's opinion said, and I better hold on to it. And I walked in the fellowship after smoking crack for so many years, over 16 years. Started with cocaine and the champagne and the high life. I had a good job, everything. I met a man, suffered domestic violence, had a daughter. Because you see, I had this low self-esteem and this low self-worth. So I thought I was a worthless piece of shit. It's not just about drugs. It's the way I've lived my life. So I'd go with the wrong man that would beat me up, that's jealous, that would give me a black eye. We have some sex, some rough sex, some crazy sex. And I'm thinking, this is life. That's why I had to have that rearrangement of thinking, because my behavior was twisted. My mind was so twisted. I was doomed. So I needed to have that spiritual awakening. I needed to put down my old ideas and pick up new set of ideas. We're agnostics. All my agnosticism, right, God, any area of my life that I had some kind of agnosticism going on, I needed to hand that over. They talk about a higher power that's intimate to me, my own concept of a higher power. It talks about that in the big book about the man who was the son of a minister, page 57. He talks about when he said, if there was God, he's done nothing for me, but he felt the presence. This is about a presence. I cannot tell you what the presence is. It's very difficult for me to talk about the presence and to talk about the power and the grace of God that I do not deserve. You either had it or you didn't. And if you haven't had it, my God be with you. Might you experience it tonight as you get off this meeting. Might you experience it from your head to toe so you feel resurrected to the 4th dimension of existence. Because let me tell you, I suffered 2 relationships, domestic violence, and I'm talking about head smashed, head open, all kind. I don't know why I used to pick that kind of people, but that's the lifestyle I lived. I had 2 daughters. One of them's 31 today. One of them's 26. You see, I ended up picking up crack cocaine for the last 16 years, and it took me to very dark places. You never go there. Like I said, crack cocaine is not the worst drug. Whatever brought you to your knees, I respect that. If it's alcohol, if it's Valium, for me, it was crack. Crack was my boyfriend. Crack was my master. Crack has, took everything away from me. And I have to remember, because I was angry by this time. By this time, I took that pipe. I was angry with God and the world, and I was fuming. Cocaine wouldn't work. Weed wouldn't work. So I was like, I wanted to be in a roller coaster, and crack cocaine did that. The feeling was numb for me, and I'm not glamorizing it for any newcomers. It's where it took me and what I did for it, what I did to get it. I've sold my goods. I've slept around. I've run over the street in the middle of the night. I've left my kids at school gates. I've never picked my kids till midnight. And then I only went to have one. Because you see, I've got this mind that tells me I've got it sussed. But I don't remember it because I'm powerless. A lack of power is my dilemma. It's a progressive illness. It gets worse, never better. I can't remember what it's like. I forget. Page 24 tells me that. It tells me I don't remember what it was like, a week or a month ago. We're out with our defense against the first drinks. I would smoke crack and I'm crying. Please, God, can you, help me, but I can't stop. I'm getting raped when I'm crying. I'm going back and doing it, and I came into recovery really broken. I lost my 2 daughters, the consequences of leaving them, local authority. I was raped so many times, and I forgive all the people that done me wrong today because that's the lifestyle I've lived. On the last rape I recall, by the grace of God, I was gang raped. I was put to sleep for 3 days. I had a little boy conceived from rape. His name's Dominic. You know what I mean? I decided to keep the baby. I was size 6. I walked in the meeting through the DTTO, which you would call the DRR, the criminal justice system, because I was a criminal, not a big criminal doing robberies. I thought I was a gangster, but I wasn't. I was just stealing, I don't know, chicken or steaks or, deodorant, selling it to the dealer. At the end of my using, I couldn't walk, I couldn't move. I was pregnant. It was disaster. But, I walked in this church and I met this lady. Her name was Clara, and she's still in my life today. And I don't know what happened. After that, I still used, and I walked in the meeting on the 10th of October, and it was an NA meeting. It was step 11 and never left. I can't tell you why. It brings tears to my eyes. That was my journey. That was my time, because there was no easier, softer way. I was broken. I was beaten to a state of reasonableness. I couldn't use anymore. There was nothing I could have done. I had to follow the steps. I had to follow the traditions. I had to grab into CA members, like this on their legs and please help me. I had to beg people to take me to meetings. I walked in, I was really afraid. I was full of guilt and shame, and remorse. My internal condition was eating me out. I couldn't look at you in the eye. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to tell you I was gang raped. I didn't want to tell you I left my children hungry. I didn't want to tell you I slept with every Tom and Dick and Harry. I couldn't say that. Those are the secrets I was going to take to my grave. I have to be honest. But you only get well when you open up. You have to diligently, look into your soul until we open up. Until you have that, that moral inventory, until you sit with another addict and really disclose ourselves, really from within, you're never going to get well. So I'm begging you guys, it makes me cry. I'm begging you. I'm begging any newcomers. I don't know, God is trying to reach out. There has to be someone here, and I do not even know. I've never been in this meeting. I'm begging you to open up. I'm begging you to share. And if you don't feel that connection with your sponsor, if it's a he or she, please find someone. Find someone that's loving and kind and share it. You have to share it. You have to set yourself free, because the God we serve is the God of love, and he loves you. He talks about that in the big book. Remorse is another form of spiritual disease. If you sincerely say sorry, God has forgiven you. If you knew better, you would have done better. You're sitting here resentful, angry at yourself, and you was driven. You couldn't have done it any different. You couldn't. You're powerless. How could you? Your will was not available. You didn't have a will. And if your will is not available, whatever thought, whatever action is going to be self-run riot. And that was it for me, and I was a year so, but that little boy was adopted. His name's Dominic. I still haven't seen my son now. He was 18, the 24th of June. I'm still trying to call the local authority and contact them. If I can just get a letter or anything like that. That's the consequences. A year and a half, I was diagnosed with HIV. I was fuming. I was afraid of death. I thought HIV is AIDS. I didn't understand what it is. Today, I know it's a low immune system. I walk by faith and not by sight. You know, I walk through the valley in the shadow of death and I fear no evil. No AIDS, no HIV can ever trouble me. If you know me and if you live around me, if you're in my house, I'm on fire. You don't want to be around me in the morning. I work in a fucking hostel, 92 people. I'm running like a headless chicken. Every day I wake up, hey, bring it on, you know, praise God. You know, gratitude is the attitude. I do H&I. I was 6 months sober. I was in H&I. I served in many prisons. I traveled 5 hours to open up 1 hour meeting. I stand 1 hour waiting for a bus outside London. I come back. People know the service that I did. If anybody know me, they know who I am. You know what I mean? It's all about giving, because the more you give, God will bless you more. And I sit here because of my sponsors. I sit here because of other members of Cocaine Anonymous that trusted me and loved me and believed in me and gave me treasury money and gave me the keys. And now I'm the programming chair for UK convention. That's powerful stuff. I was a broken crackhead. You couldn't trust me with 10p. You know what I mean? So I know today that step one, I can't. Step two, he can. Step three, let him. So for me, step one, my ego was broken. Step two, I have hope. We came to believe there's a power will restore my mind to sanity. And that step two is with me every day of my life. If I wake up tired, if I wake up in pain, we came to believe there's a power. I have to believe it. So I turn my life and my will over to that power. I ask God to, you know, relieve me of the bondage of myself, which is my dishonesty, my selfishness, my resentment and fear. So I can come and share here a message of hope, a message of integrity, to be a role model to Cocaine Anonymous, not to come and talk the talk and share my mess. No, I have to come and think about the newcomer. They are the most important people. You know, take away my difficulties, being HIV positive, not knowing where Dominic is, so I can be a channel, God. Help me. So I have 1, 2, and 3. I have the foundation. You know, foundation, I'm building a house. Boom. I know what I suffer of. Step 2, cornerstone. I need the corners of the house so the building doesn't fall down. It stands straight. Yes, we came to believe. Step 3, keystone. So I can walk into the, you know, the arch of freedom. Thou will not mine be done. So why should I be afraid of step 4? Fearless moral inventory. My rapist was sick people. They gang raped me. They put me to sleep for 3 days. I don't know what happened to me in those 3 days. I was left in the back garden naked, wrapped up in the sheet. Who is me to judge? Why should I hate them? Because if I hate them, I can't share the message of hope, because God is love. You see, love and hate can never be friends. Either hate and smoke crack and resent and come here and start shaking when I'm sharing, or set them free and I share the message of hope. Because you see, forgiveness is for you. It's not for other people. Please, please know that. You know, our ego, I'm not going to forgive them. Look what they've done to me. I know many sponsors holding on to resentments. You know, if someone raped you and they're dead, what are you going to do? They're going to wake up the grave and say, sorry, let them go. What will be, will be. You know, I've done things as well when I was driven. You know, the Bible tells me who love much, you know, who's been forgiven much, love much. Sorry, guys. That's what it is. I have to forgive. I have to work with the power of forgiveness. I have to accept that my son was adopted because of my own consequences. I have to accept because I'm HIV positive. Maybe I had sex without condoms. Maybe even the gang rape, maybe not. But I know that there is a God that will heal me from all this, that has a purpose for my life. You know, God has a purpose for my life. I'm not here by accident. None of us are. Each and every one of you. And I'm about to wrap up. And I tell you this, you are a miracle. And you better believe it. No matter what you're going through, there's a reason why you're here. Somebody might be here, might not hear anything that I say, might not take it in, but somebody else might share, and someone will get something out of what you share. Share your truth. I was in meetings where I shared I'm HIV positive. I had men standing saying, I'm HIV too, and I was embarrassed. Why are you embarrassed? Your dependence is upon God. So I look at my fears. Fears are not real. They're imagined. God is love. If you want to share back to me and you're afraid, you are playing God. You're putting your will ahead of God's will. There's either love or fear. That's it. Sexual inventory. If our sexual conducts keep harming others, causing bitterness, jealousy, suspicion, go back and redo it. I don't want to be the arbiter of anyone. I don't want to be sitting in everybody's inventory. No. All of that stuff, porn, masturbation, all of that. I have to have, you know, that soundness of mind. They talk about everything had to be sane, sound, ideal. Everything. Rearrangement of thinking. Because that stuff makes me separate. Even if you're not watching me, I'm watching porn. It makes me separate because I know that I have a reputation that I don't deserve. I'm going to get cool. And that's why people relapse. Not because of the drink or drug, because of the behavior and the lies. I've been around and I've seen people dropping and they used to be doing really well. Please, 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 you need to change. It's all about putting down that stuff and picking new set of rules and ideas. You have to. That's the only way. There is no other easier, softer way. Working with the disciplines 10, 11, and 12, 4 through 9, 4 through 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 through 9, which is step 4, 5, sharing it, 6 and 7, God is or isn't. Yes, I am willing to believe that he has what it takes to remove all my defects, anything that blocked me away from God. Step 7, I'm a witness. Yes, God loves me with my defects of character. Some things don't get removed. There's a reason why. When I'm taking a meeting in the prison, in Belmarsh prison, when I'm swearing, people enjoy my share. When I'm going there talking like a religious boy about God, this and that, they just walk out the room. So I have to have some kind of identification with these people in prison. So 8 and 9, I write, my sponsor gives me a list and I go out and make amends. I make amends to anybody here. If I was too loud, if I was too raw, and if I was too honest, I have to be. Because this is about life and death. I don't want to smoke crack. This is about my life. And I'm not going to fucking smoke crack. So I am going to share the truth. And this is my truth. Because the truth will set you free. You get instant result with the truth. Stop lying to yourself. I have to be honest in order to get this. And 10, 11, and 12 is the disciplines. It's just like they say, it's the horse we ride. Step 10 for me is a continuation of 4 through 9. I have to look at myself. I have to send an inventory. I have to do that nightly review. And step 11, was I kind of loving towards all? What did I fall short? Most of the times I'm always rushing because I fit a lot in a day. So I'm overtaking or I'm bibbing on someone. When I look at the man, he's very old man. He's like 80-year-old man. And I'm bibbing at him. He was scared. And I was like, oh, so embarrassed. These are the things. Because I'm an addict. So why don't I just take some things out of the day so I can just do what I can? And step 11 is prayer and meditation. Shame on me if I don't wake up and say, thank you, Jesus, for my life. Whatever God you serve, whatever higher power you have to find one. Your sponsor is never going to be a higher power. Because no human power could relieve us from our addiction. It has to be something supernatural. Has to be. Not the doorknob, not the bus. Maybe the rooms at first, but you have to find something greater than you, unique to you, that unique affair. I can't smoke crack even if I want to. Even if I buy it and put it in my mouth, God will let me take it. And I know that for sure. My God has never failed me yet. By the grace of God, one day at a time. That grace that I do not deserve. Not that I'm better than you. I just don't deserve it. I was saved by grace. And that's because I gave my life to others. And that's what's about. And step 12 is sharing a message of hope. And shame on me if I say no. I think next week I'm sharing in the meeting twice. And I work. I'm very, very tired, but I have to do it. The shame on me if I don't sit and read the book and give you the rest of the hope so I can see you get your kids back and that I didn't get mine, but you can. And I smile and I'm happy. Shame on me if I don't sit in the committee, area, district, world, and help and serve and the deeper level of Cocaine Anonymous. You need to move to all of that. It's hard work. And I'll finish on this. I'm the programming chair for a convention. It's crazy because it's about tolerance. I pray and I just keep my mouth shut because you say this, they say that. You say you want those 2 speakers. No, we can't give you the money for this. I say, okay, that's fine. I can just have one. Love and tolerance of others is our code. Cease fighting anything or anyone, dash drugs and alcohol. Recoil from it like a hot flame. Crack cocaine is poison for me today. The problem doesn't exist for me. I'm neither cocky or afraid. I've been restored to sanity. The position of neutrality safe and protected. That soundness of mind. And again, every day is a day that we must carry God's will into all our activities. The proper use of the will. How can I best serve? Thy will, not mine, be done. It says it right there in black and white. Guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for letting me be of service. Again, I apologize. That's how I am. The Holy Spirit just speaks through me. I hope you've been listening and caught it all up. And if you haven't, I'll leave you my number and I can send you my shares and you can hear me and I'll connect with you anytime. I love you all, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for letting me be of service. Always an honor.
Woo! Super.
Thank you, Mom.